Welkom terug. Ek hoop jy het jou watertjie byderhand, want as deel van Wêreld-waterweek kuier ons vanoggend met Interwaste se watervermorsing-spesialis Kate Stubbs oor die bestuur van watervermorsing en hoe die toekoms van volhoubare waterverbruik lyk, iets wat baie belangrik is in die tyd waarin ons leef. Baie welkom, Kate.
Thank you.
Nice to talk to you. So, it's overwhelming to realize that the world's water consumption could double by 2050. What new waste treatment technologies are available to shape the future of water sustainability?
Good morning. It's often confusing to think how waste and waste treatment technologies affect our water, but actually we have a lot of wastewater in our country and in our processes, and there are lots of new technologies that are actually able to recycle and repurpose that water so that we can reuse it into our system. Some to potable standards, but also just for irrigation or cleaning, any type of industrial process. So there's a lot happening in that space.
Wonderful.
What are some of the new innovative waste reduction and recycling methods that you know about?
And there's, as I said, lots happening in the space. South Africa's legislation is fairly new in terms of waste management. So our legislation is forcing change and creating opportunities for innovation. But in terms of water treatment, many different technologies that are able to take wastewater, quite contaminated water, and as I said, make it clean water. For instance, we have a waste effluent treatment plant that takes liquid waste from industrial processes, and we are able to recover 80 to 90% of that as clean water for reuse. So super exciting. I mean, the good thing with wastewater is that we are able to repurpose most of it back for reuse, which we need to do considering the water scarcity in the country.
But that must be quite expensive.
That's a very good point. Some of the technologies are. I mean, depending how contaminated the water is and what type of constituents it have. I mean, there's no silver bullet here. So wastewater, we have our sewage wastewater, all different types. They're natural solutions too. So in certain instances, it can be quite expensive, but you have to look at the overall effect, because you're preventing liquid waste from going to, well, either for treatment or polluting the environment. But also then you're taking the cost away from using fresh municipal water. So you need to look at the full package when you're looking at wastewater treatment. But it's actually illegal to dispose of wastewater to the environment directly. So you need to in order to be compliant. So you have to look at the full basket of what that cost really is.
Yeah. That's probably why it's a good idea to involve the private sector.
Absolutely. I think there's also lots of different skills required for these new technologies. So that, as I said, I mean, a lot of the private sector businesses are more environmentally conscious now. They've got ESG targets to meet. And so those large water users are even investing in their own types of plants on site to repurpose their water. So there's a lot more awareness all around in terms of being more mindful about our impact on the environment.
Many people say the next World War will be because of clean water that we fight about. Now, Wêreld-waterweek 2024 focuses on water cooperation for peace and security.
Yeah.
How does Interwaste's work contribute to building a peaceful and sustainable future through the management of water waste?
Yeah, I think our purpose actually as a business is to serve land and life. Our whole job in terms of managing waste and helping our clients manage their waste effectively is to preserve our environment. I mean, as humans, I think we take it for granted that our very lives depend on our ecosystems, and water is life. Without water, we cannot live, We've seen what happens in the energy crisis. You can create energy, but you cannot create water. So the work we're doing in preventing pollution and protecting the environment, I think, plays a critical part in protecting and creating a future for everyone.
So the two, like we say in Afrikaans, sonnebokke, the biggest problems are the increased industrial and domestic water consumption. How do you suppose we meet these specific two challenges?
Well, we are the problem. That's the biggest problem as humans.
We must evaporate.
Yeah. I think behaviour change is interesting. In any type of waste management too, it actually starts with us. So often we can think, oh, my little bit doesn't matter, but every drop matters. So it actually starts immediately with behaviour change in our own homes and our businesses, water reduction. South Africa by 2030 will have a deficit. I think we are already in certain areas having water shortages.
Yes.
But by 2030 there'll be over a 10% water deficit. Now I don't know about you, but having no water for half an hour, it starts really impacting us. So it starts with each of us being mindful about our water consumption and finding ways to reduce it. And there's simple things to do in your homes. Fix your leaks, reuse your grey water, even turning on and off the tap when you brush your teeth, wash your hands. I mean, the Cape Townians taught us many lessons in 2018 when they hit nearly ground zero. But do we have to wait for a crisis in order to change?
Yeah.
I think that's a really good point, and you made it. The Cape Townians did it, and I think a lot of them sustained those habits that they picked up. Not letting it go. I don't think we're that good in the rest of the country with regards to water wastage. How often do we drive in the roads and you kind of just see a leak and water running down the street, but no one picks up the phone to phone their local councillor to go, listen, there's a leak in this or that street. We can't just leave it because it's someone else's problem.
Correct.
And I think that is probably a mindset we as South Africans need to change, that water wastage and the scarcity of water is not someone else's problem. It's also our problem.
Correct. I mean, we lose over 40% of our clean water goes to waste currently in Gauteng.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
40%.
Yep.
Sure.
Sure.
So, Kate, how can waste management practices be optimized, especially if we look at the theme bridging borders, water for peaceful and sustainable future?
As I said, you know, any type of waste that's not managed has environmental, social and economic impacts, negative impacts. So managing our waste effectively means that we're not creating pollution. And when I say pollution, you know, often maybe we're not thinking that waste flies into our waterways, into our rivers, lots of wastewater. So any type of good waste management practice has a direct impact on our water quality. You know, thinking about groundwater, surface water, where our water comes from. So many people think water comes out the tap. We have to think with a bigger picture to say, what are these practices here have a greater impact on our environment.
And how can the cross-border collaborations or the bridging borders assist in waste management and water sustainability?
You know, if you think over 70% of our GDP is serviced by water systems from Pongola and Komati, the Orange River, you know, Lesotho, it's really important that we have cross-border relations because ecosystems are interconnected. Yeah. So what happens in one area will impact further downstream. So with our governments and collaboration all round is important in order to manage our water systems and ecosystems.
You know, you do mention that if you look at a place like Parys, and we often get like other people like going, okay, we have no water. Last week we heard also about Northwest, another place Northwest that hasn't had water for 9 days. Parys, I know the water was really bad, the quality, and you spoke about quality of water earlier. And a lot of people will go, well, they don't actually even drink tap water anymore because they're not sure about the quality of our water. That's quite a thing to think about. Like how many years ago you wouldn't even think twice about the quality of water. You would just use it because it's great, the water that comes out of our taps. Now all of a sudden everyone's kind of thinking about what kind of water comes out of my taps. Is it going to be healthy or not?
Yeah. I mean, the Department of Water and Sanitation reinvigorated their green drop, blue drop and no drop reports. And that data was shocking to see and sad to see that in comparison to the last 10 years, the quality of our drinking water across the country, the quality of our systems and the amount of leaks happening in the systems, that's what they measure, have all deteriorated significantly. So I think we have a water crisis already. I mean, it takes urgent action. Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you for coming and to inspire us again to be more aware and to do what we can and to make easy choices to save the water for everyone after us to live on this beautiful planet of ours. Thank you so much, Kate, and thank you for the good work you do.
Thank you.
Keep on doing that. Hou so aan.
Yeah, thank you.